Hey guys, welcome to another video of me just practicing my impromptu speeches while I'm in traffic. So here it goes. Let's talk about the Army of the Dead and what that kind of means symbolically. So an army, it's like a mass of people with some kind of military purpose, right? And of the dead, you have all these dead people with some kind of purpose or had some kind of purpose, and you see it kind of playing out in the world today, so you kind of figure out what I'm talking about today. So, anyone could kind of be a part of the Army of the Dead. I could be a part of the Army of the Dead. I don't know. But it's basically, there's this cool quote that says, tradition is peer pressure from dead people, which is kind of cool. So when I think about the Army of the Dead, I think about the patterns and behaviors, personalities, goals and missions that have been either attempted or done by dead people. So, first thing that comes to mind, everyone knows about the whole left versus right thing, liberal versus conservative. That's been like age old, been forever, been around, for centuries. So it's like, if you're, if you identify yourself with the left or the right or forward or backwards, I don't know. If you're like, in one of those spheres, it's like, you're having the same mindset as a lot of people from like centuries and millennia ago. It's on a side note, there's an interesting literature where it says civilizations with like really harsh conditions and disease everywhere, they were more authoritarian and conservative and kind of like dictatory in a way. The people wanted that kind of thing because I guess they wanted some kind of unified, solution and strict solution to all the problems and diseases during that time. So people were in favor, like, oh yeah, I would like to, have a strict laws and stuff to get rid of this, all these maladies out there. And they said civilizations with better plumbing, with sanitation systems, they were more liberal, which is interesting. Anyways, so maybe we're in that time where we have plumbing and sanitation, so maybe we have a lot of left-leaning liberal politics that are getting pretty popular. It's interesting. So, Army of the Dead, I kind of think about this time after time. This idea that, like, people who have driven a car, they're dead right now. People who have doing what you're doing right now, they're dead. People who have listened to this song on the radio, this old song, they're dead. And here I am listening to it. It's just like a different way of thinking about the Army of the Dead. How do you kind of protect yourself from the Army of the Dead? Is it inevitable? Are we all just going to just be people kind of governed by these overarching ideas? There's this cool saying by Carl Jung. He's a German, I think he's German psychologist. I don't know, I think it was like World War I period, I forget. He said that people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. So, how old is aggression? How old is clout chasing? That's like super old, right? That's been around, way back in maybe folklore based on like what happens when you cloud chase. It's like, is that going to be the final destination of your life, or a period of your life, 1/5 of your life? So it's kind of interesting how everyone's already kind of thought up of these archetypes and examples of a person's end, I guess, or fate, whatever. A really cool movie I'm looking forward to is Pinocchio, because it's super deep. It was written by I forget, some really old person way back then, or just some person back then. It's cool because it talks about the army of the dead. There's like this puppet. You can kind of guess what that entails, right? A puppet on strings, or being kind of pulled by something, by some puppet master. He wants to become a real boy. So I guess some fairy makes him into a real boy one day because of Geppetto's wish. And then he's like a real boy. He's got no strings, walking around. Oh, cool! I'm free. But I guess there's like these really deeper strings that are out there in society. So he gets enticed to go to Pleasure Island, and then all these cigars and cigarettes and merrymaking and revelry happen, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm so free. And then I think there's some like evil guy. He's turning all these boys into donkeys. So I guess a donkey is like a mule, right? A mule is some animal that carries somebody else's burden. So Pleasure Island's kind of manipulative in that way, and you can kind of see how this allegory plays out. It's really cool. And then he goes home. He's like half donkey, half boy. He's like really sad, and he's trying to find the safety net of going back home to his past, how things originally were. And then he goes home, and spoiler alert, his dad's not there. His dad went to go look for him on a boat. And this kind of means like, I don't know, I'm probably losing track of Army of the Dead here, but maybe it'll come back. So you can't really go back to your past because you have to move forward. You can't go back to that safety net. So he's got to rescue his dad. He looks for his dad. I forget how he finds him, but he finds him like at the bottom of the belly of a whale, pretty much. And that's also a symbolic thing, rescuing your father from the belly of the whale. That kind of means like maybe you become super aware of all these strings that are happening, and you realize your dad and your upbringing and all your fathers of forevers past, or centuries past, they were kind of controlled by some kind of string, right? And so you kind of, you have that realization, and you're kind of more capable of original thought after that. And it's kind of the reason why I like these, being stuck in traffic, because I tend to not turn on any radio. I'll rarely put on like an audio book or something. I guess lately I've been just having silence when I just drive in traffic, because sitting in the shower, when you're doing something, doing chores, laundry, shower, stuck in traffic, you're kind of in this weird flow state, and you're kind of more capable of original thought rather than listening to like commercials and radio and songs. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of strings attached to them. I don't know, some people say. I wouldn't doubt it. So yeah, that's kind of the Army of the Damned. That's one way Army of the Dead. That's kind of one way I escape just being pulled around by, it could be biological strings, or I don't know, chemistry in your brain strings. I don't know. What else? What other kind of strings are there? Peer pressure strings. A lot of these are, satanic. Because, I know the ultimate string that's kind of being pulled is, we're being controlled by something, right? Whether, it's clout chasing, and I like saying that a lot for some reason today. And I know, clout chasing is pretty demonic. It's very prideful and, I guess anti-God in a way, or very much in a way. Yeah, and me as myself, I pray to be pulled by the Holy Spirit strings, because that's the best string to be pulled by. And it's also not like a manipulative string pulling where it's like, hey, that's against my will and I'm being taken advantage of. So I guess puppet master of string would that's kind of where the analogy would fail, because I would agree with the Holy Spirit, this is a great thing to do, helping this person or praying for this person, or sharing some truth with people. Army of the Dead. You're either alive or you're dead, So, I think that's kind of all I want to say about that. We're at 12 minutes, so peace out. Hope you got some value out of that, as much as I did.